All right. Good evening, and welcome to the Shir of Sipur Maisias. Maisa Mechiger. We're going to do something different in the sense that we're going to learn Sipur Maisias according to the parish of Rav Yitzchak Meir Bar-Lev, who based it on the parish of Rab Nissen David Kivak Shlita. So in a sense, we will be sort of like starting the Maisa again, but it's worthwhile because it's a whole different mahalach, and I believe that it'll be more inspiring. And the reason why this is important with this particular story is because the story of the cripple is, besides the fact that it's opaque. I mean, all spermiosis, all the stories are opaque. But this particular story, it's also not very clear what happens first and what happens later, and in which scenes the cripple is present, in which scenes he's not present. So being the whole thing is not clear, it's important for us to sort of like make a little more, dive a little bit more into it and base ourselves more on a parish that is more negea on Ma'aseh Avodas Hashem. So I figured, I gave whatever it is that I could into the, up to now, but I realized that it's getting so esoteric that I needed some help. So I brought the help along. So without further ado, I'll bring the spermiosis right here. And Maisa, I think that there's a better way of doing it. Instead of sharing it, what I'll do is this. I will just read to you what is going on, transliterate it. Okay, hold on just 1 second. This Maisa Mechiga is talking about the way of being mamshich the das to Am Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu gave the Torah on Sinai, and he showed us to know that Hashem is Elokim. Hashem is God. And afterwards, all the Neshamos of Tzaddikim, they came in order to draw down the light of the das to Am Yisrael. And that's the inyan of the watering of the tree that we spoke about. And in general, the inyan of the one, the name of the one who draws the das is called the chiga, because right parallel to the tzaddik stands the klip of Hamalek. These are the apikorsim, these are the demons, these are the robbers. They're all different manifestations of the same essence. That what do? They hide, they conceal the das. That Hashem is Elokim, and that's it. You can't get away with anything. And their job is to prevent the watering of the trees. And they put upon a person, a tremendous amount of hurdles and tests so that he shouldn't receive the das. Let him spend his days in this world, watching soccer on YouTube or whatnot. Or it's just like, and it's the tzaddikim, they're fighting them. And they're fighting the klipas Amalek, to draw mine water to the tree and to reveal the derech of tshuva to every person. And for this, the Moisa Nefesh, and they're going down to the lowest places, and they're going into the hurdles themselves. And this is the euphemistically, this is Machne Dan. This is the tribe of Dan. That his job was, to gather those who felt that the clouds, spilt them out. And they're going into 1,000 mountains. The cloud, spits out those who falter to the place of the 1,000 mountains, which is the place of the Mazikim, to fight with them a tremendous battle in such a way that a person, through his choice, will be able to get himself on his feet again and to choose the right thing. This is a tremendous madrega, because we have learned with the Baal Shem Tov, in Chayaran, the Baal Shem Tov said to one of his Hasidim that, I will have a grandson who will be able to help a person who has a Baal Bechira. So this particular chassid says, and you'll meet him. He says, you'll be able to meet my grandson who will be able to help a Baal Bechira, somebody who is a Baal Bechira. And this particular student lived for a very, very long time. Sometimes it was like 100 years or more. And he saw the Rebbe Baruch. So when he met Rebbe Baruch of Meshibosh, so Rebbe Baruch said, yeah, but who can help a Baal Bechira? So he said to him, somebody who has a free choice. So he said to him, well, obviously, your grandfather wasn't talking about you. When he gave me the bracha, that I will be able to see him. When he saw Rabbeinu says, to help a Baal Bechira. So he said to Rabbeinu, says, obviously it's about you that the Baal Shem HaKadosh have meant. And he passed away very, very quickly afterwards. What's the pshat of helping a Baal Bechira? There were many tzaddikim, in fact, not just many, all the tzaddikim, other than Rabbeinu, they were able, when somebody came to them, they picked him up and they carried him. I mean, they basically just like, they took him off the bilbulim this person was in and the struggles that he was struggling. And so in a sense, they took away the Bechira. There's a story, a rather famous story, about Reb Nocham Chernobyl, that the person who later became his gabbai saw for the first time. He saw Reb Nocham Chernobyl eat, and the food was going down on his beard. And when he saw it, he felt this revulsion. He was a gashmistic person, and he caught himself. And he turned around and he said to himself, I'm watching an Ish Elokim. And he asked, please take away this. I can't overcome this, whatever klipas are surrounding me and see him for who he is. So they said that Nocham Chernobyl, then he turned back and then the face of Chernobyl shined to him. Then he realized who he was standing. I mean, he saw, he saw behind the veil. And so at that point in time, it says, the Chernobyl, they said he took that Yitzhahara from him. He took all, different kind of Yitzhaharas from him. B'kitzur, he elevated. Basically, he took away his Bechira. What the Baal Shem Tov said, I'll have a grandson who will be able to help people, that will be able to help a Baal Bechira. He meant that it is a davar v'hipuchoi. It's tata de satris. One thing is, negates the other. It's an oxymoron. To help means that you're taking away the bechira, and for him to have a bechira means helping him. To help about bechira means that you both help him. He both gets out of the quagmire, but at the same time you don't take away the bechira from him. That's what Rabbeinu is doing. You will have the same bechira as you had before. Rabbeinu says before, she says, when a person comes to me, and he says, when a person touches the door handle on the way coming into me, he has the same free choice, as when he goes out the door, when he touches the door handle from the inside. It says the people that come to me have the same free choice when they touch the handle on the inside as they had when they touched the handle from the outside. In other words, when they're going out as before they came in. Rabbeinu doesn't take away the bechira. And it's a murder kazach. You can't understand it b'sechel anoshi. This is the role of the tzaddikim. That's why the tzaddik is called a chiger. It's called a cripple. Because he goes down to the place of the hurdles. Over there you can't walk. And from there, he helps the person who is a cripple to go up and to ascend with his own koyach of free choice. And it teaches him how to be mischazik against the tzahara and the klippos that prevents him from walking. And he teaches him to hold on. Even if you're crawling down on the floor, you're eating grass. And be mechaya yourself, just give yourself, life and simcha from every nikuda tova until it's himself at the end. You'll be zocher to a complete Yeshua. And this is at the end. Rabbeinu brings this pasuk Asher Yishol Alach. That this story goes on Kapitel Tilim, the first Kapitel in Tilim. That happy is a person who didn't go ba'atzas Hashem, shavleitzim lo yoshav, and Rabbeinu says that of holach and yoshav and omad, that he didn't walk, he didn't sit, and he didn't stand. All this has to do with the chigar. That we said he couldn't stand. Yes, he could stand, but he couldn't walk, and so forth and so on. At the end, we see that he couldn't even walk. And so he was standing on the wagon. All these points are in this particular Kapitel Tilim. Here in this story, Rabbeinu teaches us how to be mischazik, what to do when you can walk. This is very different than the regular minas tzaddikim in the world. When a person, things don't go in his life, what does he do? He comes to the tzaddik. And he asks him to perform a miracle for him and take away the hurdles and take away the crippleness, the invalidity, so he can run. This is, but Rabbeinu Kodesh, he has a different way. He's going with the person into the nisayon of being a cripple. And over there, he strengthens him to withstand whatever he's going through with his own koyach bechira. And to perform with the force of his urging, of his kisufim, was his ritzinus and chizuk of emunah. That alone is the deliverance of a person to get out of whatever it is that he wants to get out. As we say, the end of this Maaseh, at the very end, the tree is being watered, and all the mazikin are disappearing. Because the way of miracles that give a person success, that's in itself is the reason that the person who doesn't have success in time of Yerida, and he's is like all broken, that he feels like you're not allowed to be a cripple. You're not allowed to fail. I mean, you go to the tzaddik, tzaddik will make a meifus for you, and make a miracle for you. Makes a miracle means that to be unhelped, as it were, undelivered, as it were, it's not allowed, it's not good. And that's not true. It means that this is a success-driven system. That's not the truth. Rabbeinu teaches us that, yeah, you can be a cripple. That's the way to the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from your particular handicap. It's extremely, extremely important, because each and every one of us, especially, when we're going in the way of Rabbeinu, it's not that we're handling, we're not handling a handicap. There are all kinds of things that we can do, various things that we're good at. It can be electricity or cooking or carpentry or painting or writing or whatever it is, each person with his own thing, but these things eventually we take for granted, but there are certain things which we really care about that we don't handle. We don't handle, and we're very, very much aware of them. And in a certain way, we have already given up. Yeah. Or we're going to fight City Hall. What am I going to do? It's like, I can't. It's like, this kind of system. And now, when you hear this Deborah, he says, I was right to give up. See, in the beginning, I was running and I was into it and I was this and I was that. And then, things happen. And, my family, what is, and it gets complicated and gets this and that. And and I'm what I'm gaining on one and I'm losing on another end, whatever it is. So I sort of like let it go. And now look at me, I'm on the floor and I can't get up. Now the point is that this is Avodas Hashem. The fact that you see that you can't. I remember it used to be, I was so on fire. Look at me now. The truth of the matter is, I don't even really want to anymore. I want to, but I don't want to. This is Avodas Hashem. The way you were before in the very beginning, because Kadosh Baruch Hu had to give it to you, because otherwise you wouldn't know what to shoot for. You wouldn't know what to long for, because you wouldn't know what you lost. So first, Kadosh Baruch Hu gave you a little taste. See what it means to run after me. See what it means to get up chatzai. See what it means to get to daven v'sikin. See what, to be into Avodas Hashem, into Rabbeinu, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, everything is taken away. And so you're saying, it's not for me. No. That's the derech ha'olam. That's the way people know about Rabbeinu. Rabbeinu says, no. Now, this is the real you. This is the real you. The one who can't. And I'm with you where you are. Because Avodas Hashem takes place where you really are. Not where you had to set up the Shmaya, to fly high. No, right now, I can't do it. And look at me, no matter how hard I try, I don't know what's... As I said, it seems to us that you don't have to be a cripple. You always have to be a success. You don't know that really the way of Hamshochas Hadas is dafka from a state of invalidity, of handicap. So we say, Ma'aseh b'chocham echad, we're talking about this chocham. So Rabbeinu says that tzaddikim are tremendous tzaddikim that are mamshich the das in the world. At Hashem Olakim El Mivada, there's nothing but the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And even the Klippas and the demons, that deny Pamala Shalmala, they are also Meshubad to be Megal Malchus Shemayim. Because Kadosh Baruch Hu created them in order to test the person. And when a person passes the test, it is through the test, through the failure, that you get immense asagas, tremendous asagas. That's the real tachlis of koichas atuma, of the forces of evil. To stand on your way. At the end, it is through overcoming them that the or of the achdusay of HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be revealed triplefold. In the time that the person is able to know this really clearly, there's nothing but HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then all the mazikim, all the demons, they are defeated under him. That's what happened, on B'Shlomo Melech. He was a king over the demons as well. And this is the Gemara in Chulin. This is the Machshefa that wanted to hurt Reb Chanina. He told him, you can do what you want, it's not going to work. There's no, he has a munah shleima, there's nothing but HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You can do what you can say in your head. You can do whatever kishuf you want, nothing going to happen. This is why I call Chacham Echad. What is a Chacham Echad? One Chacham. It means that Chacham that is advertising the unity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Einod milvado. There's no other reality except the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it says, and Kodem Moisei, before he died, he called his family. This is Ben V'Talmud. Bonov Mishpachto, his children and his family. And he ordered them to water trees. In other words, to bring into the world a revelation of Torah and Emunah. Lilmod v'lamed lishma v'lasis. Every person is ordered, is commanded to leave behind him, the Torah with all the halachas. And this is also included in this. Rabbeinu was mitzvah that people should know from him, that we do dafotza, to let other people know, and to be kind people to Rabbeinu. It means to water Nishmas Yisrael, the waters of the Nachal of Emakol Chochmah. And not only just people who don't know of him at all, but also one another. Speak to your friends, speak with the Avodas Hashem. Learn tricks in strategies, how to overcome, how to hold on in Avodas Hashem. It's not an easy thing. It's not a simple thing. Because the watering of the tree, it includes all the necessities of whatever the tree needs. Because when the tree is very young, it's still very tender, it's still very, it's a soft thing. There's some trees in the winter, you have to wrap them up with a coat so they don't freeze. Afterwards it grows from one year to the next and it becomes very strong and very tall, and all this is embedded in the commandment to water them. Water means to care for them, to raise them, to rear them. So in the pneumius of what we're saying about, watering trees means to draw down moichen to the midas. The whole inyan of the shefa that comes from Olam Salyonim, that comes down from the Chochmah Bina Das, it goes into Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yisod, Malchus. The idea is always to bring the moichin from the Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Chochmah Bina Das, and bring it into the midas. Everything is, the whole in is to bring this. It means to bring the das at Hashem Elokim. This is the moichin. Bring a das to your life. That's the midas. This is your life. Every single day of your life is a midah. Because the Elon, the Elon HaKadosh, the holy Elon, talks about, all the midas of the Tiferes. And when you don't water the meters, they dry out because of the heat of the sun that shines on them and dries them out. Then a person becomes very dry from all the lachlichis, the ziskite of the kedusha. This is one of the most important thing to know how much you need your friends. Okay, right now I'm not into it so much. What's the big deal? And it's like, no, it's gonna come back. What am I losing? It seems to me like life goes on. It's like it used to be. Everything is the way it used to be, but it's not, because the sun of the clippers, this dryness, the heat of the clippers is drying you out. It dries you. You don't feel it. You feel it over there. It's like it's getting dehydrated. You don't feel when you get dehydrated. Okay, it's only when somebody, I don't have. And what happens is that the Yira, the Yira and the Ahava, the Yeshamayim, the Avos Hashem and the Yeshamayim are drying up. What does it mean it's drying up? It means I don't find in it any kind of time. I don't feel any taste in it. Yeah, all right, that's my thing. Bo Hashem, can I know? That's my thing, but it doesn't do it to me. Other things do to me more, I want to watch a game or something. That does it to me. That really excites me. But these diborim, we all have these periods when we don't find taste in chiyus and chizuk. But that's the reason we have to stick together. We have to stick together with one another because we have to mechazik one another and get water from one another. Get water from one another to get up and be mechazik, because we are going through in an abyss. We're going through that is where we are. All the other midas and all the midas arachim, the tiferes, the kedusha, the netzach, which is to awaken yourself forever, to beat up the Yetzer Hara, they become, the limp. The hoid, which is the chender kedusha, disappears. These things don't really, they don't talk to me. As they say, from Rav Gewirtzman, he said, on Shavuos, he said, Matan Torah was Kol Gadol V'lo Yosef. It's a great voice. The Kadosh Baruch Hu spoke to us. A great voice. The Lo Yosef. The Uncle says the Lo Posak. Didn't stop. Which means the voice that the Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us, the Torah, never stopped. Which means it's still going on today. That same voice from Har Sinai still goes on. It's still reverberating. It still sounds. Okay. So how come nobody hears it? So why don't I hear it? And he said a brilliant thing. The reason why I don't hear it is because it's here, but it doesn't talk to me. That's why I don't hear it. No, it's not my thing. It's not. It doesn't juice me up. It doesn't float my boat. That doesn't get me moving. It doesn't get my blood rushing. That's why I don't hear this voice. That's why we need one another so desperately. And keneged zeh, you have to water the midas. You have to put das in the midas, to put chochma and moichin in the midas, from the nacham and chochma, from bein hakodesh. As it says, chochma techayes ba'aleh. The chochma, gives life to the one who owns it. Then the heilige midas, the midas of the olam, they wake up and then they burn be'esh kedusha. And this is done, as we'll learn that Hashem soon, through masa u'matan. Masa u'matan l'chor, al pi pshat, means doing business. But Dafka would take it from the Hebrew words of masa u'matan. Masa means carrying. Matan means giving. Masa u'matan is give and take, basically. I mean, you carry it over to your friend, whatever it is, and you give him. You give, you take and you give. As we will say, B'ezrat Hashem soon. And Chacham told his children, you have reshus also to deal with other occupations. What does that occupation mean? It means you have reshus to learn Gemara and Shulchan Aruch, and the Iyun, and Bikiyas, and Zohar, and Kabbalah. All this is the sustenance of your nefesh. It's an amazing thing. Just a second. If this is not watering trees, then what is? I mean, how do I water my trees? I'll learn Torah, right? No, the pshat is that when you learn Torah, when you're mefarnes your nefesh, but the main thing is to water somebody else. The main thing is to water somebody. That's the main choiv. Yes, you have to mefarnes your own nefesh. It's a more than thing. Where does that come from then? The tzaddik says, "Tishtadlu lashkot ilonis." That your main emphasis should be to water trees. It's a known thing from the Kotzker Rebbe that he says in Mishnah. He says, "Emes knev al timkor," buy truth and don't sell it. He says, as long as you still have a need to buy truth, don't sell. In other words, if you're still short in your level of truth, don't go and selling it to others. That's what they say b'shem Kotzker Rebbe. But Rabbeinu says not like this. He says, even though you didn't finish learning, and you still need other panosas, you need to learn Shulchan Aruch, you need to learn Kabbalah, you need to learn all the Limudim HaKadoshim. Still, all the time, be busy of watering trees. Take the water of the Nachal Neveh Mikol Chochmah and water each other. To illuminate in every person's, each person, the light of the tzaddik. Even though I'm nothing, I'm nothing. The Lubavitcher Rebbe also used to do this. I'm operating from the law of shlichus. It's not my koyach. The Lubavitcher said koyach ameshaleach v'shaliach. The power of the sender is in the messenger. I'm operating mikoyach shlichus, not my koyach, but the koyach of the chacham that ordered me. That's Rabbeinu HaKadosh Nachal Neveh Mikol Chochmah. This is what Reb Nosson said in Yichas Shlichim in Likutei Halachos. Then the sage passed away, and he left children behind. And he had one son who couldn't walk. The principle behind is that a person needs to know when he really gets into Avodas Hashem, truly. He knows that to get any madrega, you have to go through Yerida. Ain't pretty, but that's the truth. And the main Yerida means that he can't walk. What do you mean he can't walk? He can't go from one madrega to the next, just like that, go up and up and up and up. Can't do it. What happens is you take one step up, you fall 3 steps down. You don't even know if you're getting ahead or you're falling behind. Because the Koyach HaMedama, which Rabbeinu says that's a new name. The Gemara brings, 7 names the Yetzer Hara has. This is what Yaakov Avinu was. This is why Yaakov Avinu asked the Malach in last week's parsha, "What's your name?" It's called Ra. It's called evil. It's called a stumbling stone, or whatever. All these. And Rabbeinu says, that Yetzer Hara now needs a new name. A new name is Koyach HaMadama. That's the power of imagining. It's really difficult. This is the dimion, koch of imagination. But it's not a koch of imagination. Imagination is it could be good and it could be bad. But in order for the dimion, for the imagination to be good, it needs to be cleansed. Then it reflects the truth. It encompasses the truth is a lot bigger than you. The Madama usually is the Yetzer Hara koch HaMadama. It's the power to figure things out. The Madama overcomes a person and says, listen, come on, be realistic. You're not succeeding. You're not really advancing. You're just falling back. Look at Terech HaFeiz. Rabbeinu says, that's the most major mistake of all the Hasidim. They failed that, I fell off the wagon. I'm really like in a bad state, And he says, no, you just went up to a high madrega. And this is a chigah that he can't advance. But the truth is that above you, there is a different kind of invalidity, a different kind of chigrus, a different crippleness. And we said to Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the humblest person of all men. And this is how he was masking the great HaKadosh Baruch Hu in, to an extent that can only be imagined. Until what? Until he understood that vis-a-vis the great HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't even start walking. He didn't even start getting close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the chigah. And a chigah like this, like Moshe Rabbeinu, knows that he didn't even start. This is a chigah, this is a cripple that can help all the cripples. All the cripples that go through whatever it is they have to go through in Avodas Hashem. And we said about this chigah, that he could stand, but he couldn't walk. That there are certain situations that you can't get from one madrega to the next. You can't advance in Avodas Hashem. You can feel the love of Kodesh Baruch Hu in your heart. The real and real love and real yira the way it's supposed to be. But the one thing that you can do is you can stand. You can hold on during the time of the Nisayon. This you can do. Not to be a battler, not to be a shlim zalnik, not to be... Rabbeinu says not to be a shlim zalnik, don't be, wishy-washy, don't be a loser. That's what Rabbeinu said. Don't be a loser. What does it mean being a loser? Everybody loses. What does it mean being a loser? Being a loser means that it doesn't work. You just wilt. No, hold on. No matter what goes on, no matter what happens, just hold on to whatever it is you can hold on. This is what was said, in last week's parsha, that Reb Nosson said. We mentioned this. It's Chalukas HaEitzo. Says Vayachatz et ha'am l'shnei machanos. He split the people, his family into two camps. He says if Esav come and beats one camp, so the other camp is left over, and will survive. He says if the Yetzer Hara attacks you and sucks you down, and you say, I can't believe I did that. I can't. Oh man, I promised myself 1,000 times I ain't gonna go there again. And here I go again. The trick is, what have you got left? Now, what you don't have. Okay, fine. Let the remaining camp will survive, will remain. Hold on to whatever it is you can hold on. And Rabbeinu says, what? And here Nosson says, and if you can't hold on to anything, at least want to hold on. If you can't do anything, Rabbeinu says, okay, so what can you do? Sometimes you can't do anything. In other words, even when you can't do anything, you're still. And Rabbeinu says that this is when Yaakov Avinu said, in the gift that he gave to Esav, he says, put a space between the herds that are going to Esav. And put a space between one herd to the next. Because Baruch Hu created trouble with built-in oases, with built-in breathers, where things are not that bad. If a person is a whiner and is addicted to whining, and that's his name of the game, so when he falls into trouble, he gets sucked into a trouble mode. And Nosson says, and therefore he pulls on himself even more trouble. A person who is in trouble, he should always be out when the things are going to be better. When I'm going to have this breather. Amazing. And be mechazik with that. I can chap a mitzvah. I can chap a tefillah. I can chap this. I can chap that. Or a person is in physical pain or in physical trouble. And when it hurts, it hurts. And sometimes, there's kind of, what do I do with this? Where do I take this? There's no place to run. And you can feel, very down on yourself. The people are suffering awfully. Where am I? I mean, what kind of, pipsqueak am I? I mean, it's like, what, I can't take a little pain, I can't take a little this, and that. Don't think like that. The Gemara says about Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah that were thrown, that Nebuchadnezzar told them they should bow down to the idol that he built. They told him to his face. Nebuchadnezzar, people were so scared of him. It's like his Stalin times, I don't know what. Hitler times, I don't know what. It's Nebuchadnezzar. He told his face, listen, when you're talking about taxes and stuff like this, no problem, you're the king. You're coming about to Emunah, to mitzvahs, Torah. He says, you and a dog are equal. To his face. He built a pit, a fire pit, that was burning for 7 days. So anybody that doesn't bow to the idol, to the pit. They said, no problem. So they told him, so the husband said, what do you think, that your God is going to save you from me, from throwing to the pit? If throwing to the pit is going to save you? So they said, it doesn't matter. Would he save us? It doesn't save us. You're nothing. They took him to throw him into the pit. And afterwards they said, what happened with them? What happened? They turned to cinder, no? They took a look at them. And into the fire. The Chevazah took a look, and in the fire, there are people walking with their clothing. They were, in the Sunday best. They were walking in inside the fire. So he was shaking and says, get out, come out of the pit. And they came out, and so they said that then, it says, your God is so big, and you didn't serve him, you didn't, whatever it is. And they spit on them. And they said they drowned in the spit. This is how they died. So what? But the important thing the Gemara says, if Nebuchadnezzar would have beaten them up, they would have bowed down to the idol. Whoa. Come again. Third of the fire, that's okay. No problem. That's not a test. But if they were beating them up, they would capitulate it. Gemara says that. Which means when you see somebody else who's withstanding an assignment that you couldn't possibly withstand, and look at you, just a little assignment that you have, and all right, it's like, oh, I can't believe it, I have headaches, I have this, I have that, whatever. I mean, look at me, I'm a lightweight, it's like don't say that. Even Chanina Mishan Azaria, if they were beaten up, they would capitulate it. This is your Messiah. That's the one thing you can take. Don't be down on yourself. Don't beat yourself down. This is what you can't do. Only what? When you get the breather, he says, I went through things that I can't handle. But it's over. I mean, maybe he'll come back again, look, fine, but that stuff that I already went through, it washed, I have so many things in my past that I'm not exactly proud of. It cleansed. That thing that I suffered, that I wasn't able to handle, it cleaned it off. And Zat Hashem, it's himself, Zat Hashem, there'll be Yeshua. Whatever it is, this you are able to, this kind of presence of mind, you can get during the intermission between one trouble and another. This is when you're able to do this. Watch out for the intermittence, for the hafsaka, for that breather. With this, you're able to hold on until the trouble passes. This is what it means that you could stand but you couldn't walk. B'ezrat Hashem, we will stop here. And B'ezrat Hashem on Thursday, B'ezrat Hashem, the first out of Hanukkah, we will start Torah Chafalef Likutei Moharan. Appropriately enough, Torah Chafalef is Ba'aloscha, is Pnei HaMinoyer, Yair Shivas Haneres. That's how appropriate for Hanukkah, B'ezrat Hashem. So I